have a very unusual role in the world. I get to go and hang out with nerds at companies from Mercedes-Benz. I was just at Coachella hanging out with the guy who runs digital strategy there, talking about music festivals and technology, which there's quite a bit of. And so because I have that kind of role, my knowledge is very broad, and I get to see patterns before most other people do. And that's what I'm presenting to you today, is what I'm seeing coming in the next 5 years. I don't need to be too far out, because what's here today really freaks people out. When I give this talk to people around the world, usually a third of them say they're freaked out by it. And this is stuff that's pretty much here. In the next 5 years, we're going to see, I think, a bigger change in how we compute than we've seen since the smartphone, and possibly since we saw the Macintosh come along. It's an augmented reality world. It's a world where you're going to be wearing glasses. Just this morning, Wired wrote about Magic Leap, a company that got $1.4 billion of investment without having a customer and without having a product, which proves you don't need adoption to get money. These glasses are going to map the world in 3 dimensions. Microsoft HoloLens competes with it, Meta competes with it, ODG competes with it, Apple's working on it, Amazon's working on it. I know of 9 glasses like this under development. Magic Leap was just the one that got all the hype because they got all the early technology and money. When you wear this thing, and by the way, you're going to see a lot of devices with 2 cameras that map the world this year. At Google I/O in a month, you're going to hear about Google's Tango phone that you aim at around the world, and it builds a map of polygons, sort of like this. And when you map the world with polygons on every surface, you can put virtual things on top of them. So let's talk about what that world might feel like. This is the Meta glass. And hopefully the video works. And you see virtual items laid on top of the real world that you can control with your eyes and with your hands. Today, just with your hands, but soon with your eyes. And we'll talk about eye sensors in a second. These holograms can be laid on top of surfaces in the world, like we can play chess on a table, or Minecraft. We can see a CAD drawing of a new theme park, like a Disney, and walk around it or spin it with our hand. Already the guy who codes the UI in Meta is coding inside the glass and has 5 virtual screens in front of him. He does not have screens anymore. And you can play games and touch it and poke with it and move it around. It sees your fingers, it sees your hands. The HoloLens sees a couple of your fingers. How many people have seen like the HoloLens or the Meta or the Magic Leap in this room? Yes, it's early days. It's mind-blowing. It's when you wear this stuff, it is absolutely mind-blowing. Stephen Wolfram, who runs Wolfram Research and is one of the best computer scientists in this industry, cried when he got a demo of Meta. So let's talk about Magic Leap. You're looking through Magic Leap right now. Notice that it's laying a virtual item on top of the real world, and it's properly occluded, so it goes underneath the table leg. Right? This is a really advanced computer science, and it's coming in 3 to 5 years to consumers. It's already here for some of you with enterprise uses. If you're at Caterpillar tractors, for instance, your maintenance workers are wearing ODG glasses and overlaying the CAD drawings, and it teaches you how to fix a $1 million tractor by looking at it through the glasses, right? Disney designed its new theme park using virtual reality because it was cheaper and faster to do that than build a model like they used to. But it's going further. This guy showed me the eye sensors, and if you look up Magic Leap patents, there's about 90 patents, and one of them you should look up is eye tracking. And Jim Margraf is building a company with the eye sensors. Let's just listen to him. Can I get audio on this? Let me try that again.
If I want to, I can change pages. Here's another close-up of some electronics in our office, and I can go home when I want to. Over here is a medical application, and
all with your eyes.
All with my eyes. So I'm doing this solely with my eyes as fast as I can look. I'm not waiting. I'm not winking. I'm just looking. And here I've got the patient. I've got some allergy record, protocols, insurance, confidential information, current conditions. Why is he here? Well, he tells me he's got a pain in his foot. Notice I'm looking at this, but there's nothing happening on the screen. But when I decide, for instance, that I want to check out his x-ray, there it is. And now I want to go back because a couple of screens ago there was some confidential information, which is here. And now it's going to take a picture of my eye. It grabs it, says, oh, who is that? Confirms that it's me. And in a moment you'll see that it'll give me access. I'm Jim, head of CEO and founder of iFluence, and there it is. I've got confidential information. When I want to, I can return home as fast as that.
That's amazing.
All in my eyes.
That's amazing.
So he only let me film about 1/20th of his demo. What he didn't let me film was he told me pull a product out. We pulled an iPhone out. I looked at the product. It took a picture of it, went to Google, looked up the name of the product, pulled that down, went to Amazon, and let me buy the iPhone with my eyes, without touching anything, without using my fingers. It's mind-blowing what we're building in this industry and what's coming in the next three years. That's the sensors he's built, so you can see it's real technology that's cooking along pretty quickly, and you're going to get it. So that's the 5-year plan. Because we're going to have new glasses on in 5 years. And Snapchat's coming out this year with a connected camera that gives you a taste of this world, and it's just going to keep evolving. Let's come back a little bit toward today. This is already happening today. Many of you have motion capture rooms like this with VR, virtual reality. And this guy is selling condos by putting people in a room like this with a headset on.
An example.
And say, hey, you want to spend $2 million on a condo at the top in Seattle? Let's customize it for you as we walk around. What colors do you want? How do you want it arranged? And then he'll upsell you because he took a drone video and he shows you what your view outside your window will be. And then he'll take you to the other side, higher up, and he'll show you the views better on that side and upsell you to a $500,000 more condo, right? All wearing the headset. And this gives you a taste of what's possible, right? If you visit Ford's R&D lab in Silicon Valley, they have a room like this, and they design cars in virtual reality. Disney built their new theme park in China using this kind of room where they could walk stakeholders through the park in virtual reality and say, hey, is this hamburger stand in the right place? Does it have the right theme for this part of the park, et cetera, et cetera. When you visit Facebook and go to the Oculus Rift labs, they show you new kinds of social VR that's coming this year. This is called Toy Box, and they put controllers on your hands and an Oculus Rift on your face, and then all of a sudden you're in a room playing with another person over the internet, and you're throwing things at them, punching him, shooting him or her, playing ping pong over the internet with somebody else. It's coming this year. They just last week at FA, at their Facebook conference, they showed off passing photos, taking virtual selfies, doing all sorts of stuff in a virtual world with somebody else. This is at Consumer Electronics Show this year. This is ODG's glasses. Grant here is wearing the glasses, and he sees a CAD drawing popping off of the picture he's looking at. So the camera in the glasses sees a pattern in the picture and then replaces it with a CAD drawing. We've seen this stuff before. I don't know if you've been to a Lego store and you pull a box off the shelf and hold it in front of a webcam, and then all of a sudden the 3D model of the Lego that's inside pops off the box, right? That was built by a company called Mateo, which Apple bought. Gives you a sense of Apple's investing heavily in this world, and it's coming. This guy invented a company called Epiphany Eyewear. He went to Stanford and put a 1080p camera in his sunglasses. And this picture is 2 years old already, and he got bought by Snapchat. And Snapchat's head of R&D told me this year they're going to deliver a connected camera. If you're using Snapchat, you know that it's doing augmented reality already. You aim the phone at your face and it puts a cop uniform on top of your face, or a weird animal, all sorts of barfing rainbows coming out of your mouth, stuff like that, right? So they're going to have a connected camera this year. In 2 years, you know how miniaturization works. How much smaller is it today? I'm predicting it's a toothpick with a battery. And it'll be cheap. This is what it looks like inside the eyeglass frame. This is 2 years ago. So keep coming back to reality. When we're walking around with these Magic Leap glasses, we're going to need a lot of software written in the world, and we're going to need a lot of infrastructure that you people are going to build and support. So I think you all have jobs for a while. Let's talk about vending machines. This is Cantaloupe Systems in San Francisco. His dad was an immigrant to America, couldn't get a job, had a couple $100s in his pocket, and figured out, oh, I can maintain vending machines because nobody will hire me. Eventually bought vending machines, built a whole company. Then his kid went to some Eastern university, I think Harvard, and came back and said, Dad, this is stupid. Your driver is going up to this machine, opening it up, counting how many Diet Cokes you have sold, how many Snickers bars or whatever is in this machine. Then he has to walk, or she has to walk all the way downstairs to the truck. And the truck has to have all the inventory for all the vending machines in the city. So it has to be a big truck, and it always gets tickets, and it's wasteful. And that driver has to do 2 or 3 trips to one vending machine to fill the machine up. And the vending machine is stupid, so you can't have Apple Pay, obviously, because it's not connected. And you, if it's sold out because it's a hot day, it sits there empty for a week until your vendor picks it up. So he puts a Jasper Internet of Things card in there and completely changes his supply chain, saves millions of dollars a month, because now he has a small truck, his warehouse has all the inventory, they put the inventory for this specific machine into a bin, and it has exactly what this vending machine needs, and he can do it 20 times a day if this thing keeps selling out, right? Because it's cloud connected and all that, plus the customers like it because it gets Apple Pay. But with the glasses, we're going to walk up to this thing, and the ads are going to augment, and we're going to be able to just talk to it, or look with our eyes and select the Diet Coke. We don't even have to touch the machine, right? So this is a new world. People think, oh, this is a fantastic far-off future. But let's visit Levi Stadium where the Super Bowl was. This stadium, I got a tour of it. My wife said this is 1984 in a football stadium. Because the guy who runs the stadium has 4 screens in front of him, and he can see where you bought your ticket. He can see where you're driving toward the stadium. And he can send you a notification and say, parking lot C is closed, it's flooded, go to parking lot A. Because he knows how many parking spaces are available in each parking lot in real time, because you have to show your mobile app to get into one of the parking lots. So he certainly knows when you walk into the parking lot. And then he knows when you walk in the front door, because he has 146 of these Internet of Things devices called Keylars that have 9 radios in them, and sees your phone walking by it with the pass. And it turns red if you don't have access credentials to go into the stadium or into the VIP lounge like this one is. He has a 4K screen at the front of the stadium. It puts your name up on the screen if you approved it to do that, right? When I took my CTO to the Taylor Swift concert, he wanted his daughter's name up on the scoreboard. But now you can do it automatically when you walk in the stadium. His stadium has 2,000 beacons. 2,000 beacons, and you know what a beacon is. It's a radio that spits 3 numbers in the air every 30th of a second, and your phone can tell how close it is when it's next to one of these things. And if you have 3 of them in a room, you can triangulate people plus or minus a meter. So he knows where you are full time every place you go in the stadium. And he can do things like navigate you to bathrooms, because he has a sensor in the bathroom watching the line length of all the bathrooms, so he'll take you to the bathroom with the shortest line length. And somebody in one of my talks said, I'm turning that shit off, because I don't want to be tracked. I said, you're not going to turn that off. First of all, you're not going to get into the VIP lounge. You're not going to get a hamburger delivered to your seat, because this stadium brings food to you, because it knows where you are. And more services are going to come. You might say, well, that's just Silicon Valley Stadium. No, that's in 30 stadiums, and more coming. Ticketmaster invested in this guy's company, Venue Next, and they're spreading it. Ticketmaster wants the ticket of the future, right? And wants access control of the future, wants to get a cut of your VIP ticket, everything, right? This is also in your airports, right? Thanks to Cisco, they have a Wi-Fi router. It has 32 little radios around it. It can tell plus or minus a meter where you are if one of those was on the ceiling and you were all hooked up to the Wi-Fi hotspot. If you go into Chicago Airport with American Airlines app, it knows where you are full time. And it knows where everything else is. The guy who built the app says, I know where the plugs are. I know where the info counter is. I know where the sushi restaurants are. I know where your gate is. I know where the bathrooms are. So if you start asking, find me the sushi restaurant, he'll navigate you there. But he knows where you are too. Freaks people out. But it's about to get worse. If you're scared of this stuff. I love this stuff. This company is in South Africa. They have the only high-resolution camera in Madison Square Garden and about 30 or 40 other venues. It's permanently installed in Madison Square Garden. So the 2 guys who run this company can sit in South Africa and zoom in on your face in Madison Square Garden. Now that's cool. And they put the photo up on Facebook. And notice on the top left it says tag yourself. People voluntarily go and tag themselves in this photo. Now, he was just raising funny. He showed me the plan. He already can tell much more information about you than the sporting team has that you bought the ticket to go see. He knows your gender. He knows your age. He knows what team you're voting for because of the color you're wearing to the stadium. He knows whether you go to Taylor Swift concerts too. Because unlike the football team or the hockey team that you bought a ticket to, he gets to see you every time you go to one of his sporting stadiums. And so he gets to track you and build a profile on you. Which stadiums do you go to that he has his cameras in? And he has his cameras in a lot. He also took some of the only high-res photos at the inaugural events. He has a photo of everybody who was there. So think about that too with politics, right? His system's going to know whether you're a Democrat or a Republican pretty quickly if you went to the Bernie thing like my son did. Where's my son? This guy, you should know, his dad started Zoran and runs $8 billion of venture capital. So this is a family that's fairly well off. But Daniel, I think, is going to far outstrip his dad. Started a company called Tapingo, Tap and Go, and it's only for college kids right now. I know another company that started that way. If you're at Santa Clara University or New York University, New York University is one of the universities, you use Tapingo to buy everything. At Santa Clara University, 70% of all transactions are already going through Tapingo. And why? Because if you're a college kid and you woke up at 7 this morning and you wanted a nice latte from the local Starbucks, you order it here. And it comes back and says your latte will be ready at 7:29 a.m. Because there's a box in the Starbucks that lights up, that beeps, spits out a receipt that goes into the workflow of the rest of the coffee shop. And they make your coffee and they leave it on the counter and you go and pick it up. You don't touch anything, you don't tap anything, you don't talk to anybody, you don't wait in line. So the college kids love this because it saves them 20 minutes every freaking day getting their coffee. That was last year's product. This year, he knows where every customer is in real time. Because it's mobile phone, you turned on the location. And he, let's say you're in the Starbucks at 7:29, your phone will notify you, pick up Scoville's latte and take it to class, and you'll make $5 Topingo dollars. So he's building a decentralized delivery network and a cryptocurrency, basically Bitcoin, with his own brand on it, built into the app. He doesn't want to give Visa any more money. Every time he puts money into Visa, he gives up 2%, right? So he's building his own cryptocurrency. You might say, well, that's fun, that's for college kids, but how many people have bought an Apple power supply on the Apple store like that and walked in and left? You didn't know you can do that, did you? If I forget my power supply, like I always do, I go to the app and say, I want an Apple power supply. I walk in, I pick one off the counter, and I leave. I do not talk to anybody. I don't tap anything. I don't touch anything. I never get stopped. I asked the security guard how this works. And he said, we know you're in the store because you have a beacon in your phone. And we were watching for you. And we're watching to make sure you only take a power supply. So this is already here today, right? But think about our glasses. We're going to get things delivered to us where we are, when we want it, now, right? This is the rest of the app. At Cooper Cafe in Palo Alto, where a lot of venture capitalists hang out, you used to have to order a sandwich and a latte by getting up off the table, getting in line, which took 10 minutes, 15 minutes sometimes. Getting to the cashier, ordering your order, and then waiting 10 minutes for your order to be done, and then sit back down. It was 25 minutes away from your guests, right? So they put in this app called Downtown. They put a beacon on every table, and now you order your sandwich and your latte at your table from your phone, and you don't touch anything or tap anything. Payments are done automatically, like Uber does, right? Like the Topingo does. Sales in the first week went up 25%. Because when you take away pain from people's lives, they spend more. When you take away clicks on the phone, they spend more. I glossed over a little bit about Daniel at Topingo. He was in the Israeli surveillance, and when he was in the Israeli surveillance, he learned government wants to know when you're out of pattern, because we all have a common pattern. We go to the same work, we go to the same church if we do that, we go to the same restaurants on average, and we go to the same gas stations. You know this because when you travel somewhere, your credit card turns off, right? Because fraud detection is like, oh, you're out of pattern, and we don't like that. So please call us and make sure you're actually over in India spending money, right? He says, I don't care about that. That's the government's job. I care if you're in pattern. So if you keep buying the same iced latte at 7 a.m., he'll just say, would you like your iced latte this morning? And save you some clicks. The more clicks he saves, the more sales he gets. Coachella just this weekend turned on Apple Pay. On Friday, they said 20% of all their customers, all their transactions were going through Apple Pay. Why? Because people don't want to carry cash to music festivals anymore, and they're transacting at a higher rate. His sales went up because he made it easier for customers to do business and pull out their phone and tap something and get a hamburger. We're doing this in the house. House Call was started by two guys who actually built the gimbal at Qualcomm. So these guys understood mobile at a deep level. It's an app that you use if you need a plumber or anybody to come out to your house to do stuff, painting, maids, stuff like that. it changed a lot of things. The reviews are much better than Yelp's because only customers can write the reviews. The prices are standardized because he didn't want you to fumble around and have to negotiate a price for a plumber. He wanted it all to be standardized so that fewer clicks. Again, fewer clicks makes more sales. And he has a really beautiful scheduling app for both the plumber and for you. So you can see, oh, the plumber's open next Tuesday afternoon, schedule it, and then on Tuesday afternoon, the plumber knows that you're home because you're always within 5 feet of your phone, right? How many of you ever leave your phone or have separation anxiety? I did it this morning. By the time I got to the elevator, I already had separation anxiety because I couldn't use Facebook, right? And I realized I didn't have my phone, so I locked that. Plus, I wouldn't get in the front door because I didn't have the code on the phone for the badge, right? So he knows you're home, and you can see the driver coming to your house, so you know when to put on your pants. Right? Let's talk about these guys. 2 of them started Siri. Siri was launched in my son's bedroom, by the way. Patrick, did you know that? Did you know that was true? Yeah, it's true. It's a true story. They left Apple because they realized Siri is pretty stupid. And Siri's stupid. If you ask Siri, how many people are checked in at this conference on Foursquare, Siri understands you pretty well. And Foursquare has an answer, actually. There is an answer to how many people checked in this room on Foursquare. And Foursquare has an API, but Apple has to write 80 lines of code. And if they don't write the code, it fails to Bing and goes to Bing and does a search and gives you a stupid answer. And of course, Apple hasn't written the code because they don't care about Foursquare. It's not a priority for them. So it fails. These guys are starting a company called viv.ai, which you'll hear more about this year, probably within weeks. And Viv, if you ask it the same question, it'll shove all that data to the developer so the developer can see, one, that there's demand for them to write the 80 lines of code. But 2, the 80 lines of code is written in real time as you search. It's very mind-blowing computer science. So as you search for an Uber car or something like Foursquare, it writes the 80 lines of code and is much more flexible and shoves that down to Facebook or to any developer. And then he builds a profile on you. So if you say, deliver me a large pepperoni pizza from Round Table, all of that goes into your profile and you can see the profile in Viv, which is really nice. And you can delete things and correct things if you change your preferences on things, or if it got it wrong, you can see it, which you can't see on some of the others. How many people, actually I'll talk about Amazon Echo in a minute, but that profile is very powerful, and then he has a neural network, sort of like Watson, that gets smarter over time about what people are trying to do and studies a lot of things about us. So this is going to be a company to watch. It's an exponential learner instead of a linear learner. So it might start out as stupid as Siri, but within 6 months it won't be. How many people have an Amazon Echo in their homes? Yeah, 3. Do you like it? It's awesome. I've asked hundreds of people that in audiences. I've never had somebody say it sucks, right? Every time somebody says, I love it, it's awesome, blah, blah, blah. This is a device, if you don't know it, costs about $250. Has 8 microphones around it. It sits in your kitchen. It hears me from every room in my house. It's good. It's listening to you, right? And you say, Alexa, turn on the news. And it starts playing NPR. Alexa, play the Beatles. It plays the Beatles. Alexa, tell me a joke. It tells you a joke. By the way, if you ask it if it's single, it says I'm attached to the wall. Has a little sense of humor programmed into it. You can set timers. You can ask it the weather. You can ask it all sorts of stuff. And then you can ask it, can you buy me some toilet paper? And it goes, yeah, your last purchase of toilet paper with Charmin 2-ply 20-pack that costs $19. Would you like the same thing? So it's building a profile of what you bought on it. It's becoming contextual, and it's getting smarter over time, and they keep upgrading and adding new toys and new features and new apps to it. And it's an open system, so you can build your own app for it. Amazon is a crazy company. They're going to fly a drone to your house someday and drop things off, right? And I didn't have quite a concept of how that might work, but this little startup in Seattle built a little sensor for your front door. The drone's going to drop the package on the sensor. You're going to get a notification your package is at the front door because you have your mobile phone on you all the time, or your watch, right? And you're going to go and get the package. If somebody takes the package without your phone being nearby, it goes into alarm mode. It takes a picture of that person on drop cam, and it warns you on your notification that your package got stolen. Which, okay, my son's going to be a cop. The cops don't care. But we have this thing called Nextdoor. So we take the picture of the guy and we post it to Nextdoor, and we notify all of our neighbors that there's somebody in the neighborhood stealing packages. Go kick the shit out of them. We're gonna kick the shit out of him, and then we're gonna call the cops and go, this guy, we have a picture of this guy stealing a package. And my son's gonna have to do something about it, right? We're being studied all sorts of new ways soon here. Shelfbox is putting displays into grocery stores. They're building smart grocery stores now. And you touch your mobile phone to that grocery display, and it gives you coupons. Let's say you're in the cookie aisle, and you touch your phone, and it tells you, oh, if you took 3 packages of Oreos, you get 10 loyalty points, or it can do all sorts of fun stuff, even help you out. Hey, you shouldn't eat Oreos, maybe oatmeal cookies today, I don't know. It has 9 radios, and it doesn't need to be tapped with if you have a modern phone, like an iPhone or Samsung. It can see you walking by. And they're going to put one in every aisle, and they're going to put one by the milk. So when you get to the milk, they're going to know you're at the milk, and you didn't go through the cookie aisle, and it's going to notify you, hey, why didn't you buy some cookies? Again, think about the world of glasses, where you can use your eyes to look at products, and it's building a 3D map of the world. So it knows everything about that store, and if you start asking it for products, it'll navigate you to the correct aisle. There's a company called Aisle 411 that already knows the location of every product in pretty much every store in the city. Vintank, so let's hook that system up to Vintank. Vintank is a system that is hooked into the fire hose at Twitter and Facebook and Foursquare. And they are building a profile anytime you say something about wine. So let's talk about the impact of one tweet. Let's say you go to Camus in Napa. First of all, they have a geofence around each winery, so they know you're at the winery, not at a store. And you tweet, I just bought a case of Camus's best Cabernet. That just told the system that you make more than $100,000 a year, because there's no way you can afford a $200 bottle of wine unless you're wealthy and making some money. It also tells me you're probably a business executive, because there's no way you can get to taste enough wine to care about the Camus without an expense account or being in a wealthy family. And it's one or the other. There's no other way to do it. So when you walk into my winery called Paradox, I sell wine that's $40 a bottle, metaphorically. And you walk in, and my glasses tell me this guy is a wine aficionado, and he has money. So take him to the reserve room. Maximize your profits, right? Now, if you do the same thing and you tweet from Sutter Home that you just bought a case of their Cabernet, that's more my style. That's $15 a bottle. And so when you come into Paradox, I'm not taking you to the reserve room. Right? One tweet. And you're going to do a lot more than one tweet. One Snapchat, one Facebook, right? This is how the systems work. And this is why Google invested $500 million in Magic Leap, because they're going to know everything about you, and they're going to navigate you to the best experiences both ways, right? The retailer's going to navigate you toward their best experience, and you're going to get navigated. The cost of building hardware and Internet of Things is coming way down. This kid walked up to me at the end of a conference and said, I built my own glove for less than $5,000, and I'm building a company. It has a keyboard on the glove, so you can be in virtual reality and keying on a keyboard instead of touching a keyboard like this. A kid with $5,000 is building stuff like this, right? So think about all the devices that you're going to build into your factories, into your workplaces. You can build stuff for very low cost that'll watch your factory in your ways, right? Or make new kinds of fashion. This Anina in China is building clothing that has sensors in it and LEDs and changes its color based on what your excitement level is. Or if somebody walks into the prom with the same dress on, you can change the color so she doesn't have the same dress anymore. And we know we're going to do this because the kids love it. I was just at Coachella. They're using Snapchat with augmented reality, and they're using it at an extraordinarily high rate and going up. Virtual reality, every time I see somebody put it on their face, they're smiling. This is why I left Rackspace and went into this industry. So that gives you a little taste of what I'm seeing, and I'd love to take any questions as we get out. Thank you so much. How many people? How many people are freaked out? A few. You're going to use it because it's going to bring you deep utility. And here's just a little taste. Does anybody here use TripIt? There's an app called TripIt. So the CEO of TripIt explained how it worked to me. He said, well, first thing you need to know is it's hooked into the air traffic control system, which if you're a pilot, you know if you ever change your plans of flying somewhere, the first people you have to tell is air traffic control. And you have to say, hey, I decided not to go to Chicago, I'm going to New York, right? So the air traffic control system is the system of record for the airplane. First thing you need to know. It asked me for access to my Gmail. Think about that. TripIt is owned by Concur, a public company. Many of you probably use it for travel planning. And I just gave it access to my Gmail. I have no idea what it's really doing in there. And I don't know that many people do. Some of you in this room probably can watch what their algorithms are doing. That's way over my pay grade. It also asked for my credit card. So it has my credit card and my Gmail. And it asked for my location. So it knows where I am right now. And I was sitting in a plane in Chicago going toward the runway, and TripIt said, your flight's being canceled. And I said, well, I have to believe it because I just interviewed the CEO and I understand how the system works. And it says, would you like to buy a ticket on another carrier tonight? Yes. It got me a seat. 2 minutes later, the pilot comes on and says, our engine's it can't be started. And I've been talking to maintenance for 20 minutes and I can't get it started and they don't have a plane. And so we're going back to the gate and you're going to have to talk to customer service inside the terminal and figure out what you're going to do tonight. There was 3 seats on that other flight. I got one of them. So now, argue to me that you're going to turn this shit off. You're not, because you're going to want to get home. And it's going to be far deeper. He's going to be wearing a SpongeBob outfit at a future conference. And we're going to think that's pretty funny. Right? I don't know. Or a Star Trek uniform or something. I don't know. You know, we're going to be able to do all sorts of funny, weird things. Magically just put some videos up this morning and give you a little bit more taste. Right?
So what's interesting is that I lost count at what the matrix was of what we covered today. We had AI, we had sensors and Internet of Things, industrial and commercial. We had virtual reality, augmented reality, right? All in a matrix, all on, all the time.
Yep.
And that's what we mean by the era of the zettabyte and the zetta structure, because we're going to build that.
And the new data centers, I mean, I did a prediction last year, which basically came out of a conversation with a Google executive. And he said, NVIDIA is going to win.
Yes.
Because all these new visual things of looking at products, putting them up to a cloud, doing machine learning on them, and looking up and finding out what that product is, or looking at you and figuring out who you are, is going to be done on an NVIDIA card. And it's going to be done on a high-speed fiber infrastructure and a very large memory store, right, in the data center. So that's why I mean, all of you have jobs for a decade at least. I'm not worried about this room getting laid off tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much.